Good morning. Welcome to the February meeting, 2026 of the Environmental Resources Committee. It's a regular meeting, and let's all stand and pledge allegiance to the flag, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Morning, Mila.
Morning. Morning.
All right, everybody got a copy of the draft agenda? Had a chance to look it over? Do you have any changes that need to be made? Additions, subtractions? No multiplication or division?
Yeah, I move we approve it.
All right, so we have a motion
I'll second it.
and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so the draft agenda stands approved. Got the motioner and the seconder? All right, we're good. Okay, now we have the minutes from the last meeting in January. Is there anything in those minutes that somebody wants to clarify or any changes? If not, I'll take a motion to approve.
Move that we approve the minutes.
Seconded. Motion is made and seconded, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are approved. Then I'll sign those afterwards. Is that all right? We're good. Thanks. So next on the agenda is if there's any public comments on the agenda. Anybody? We have a few people here from the public. Any comments on the agenda? Not seeing none. Moving on to new business. All right. We have been asked and actually technically required to approve, start operating under this North Carolina's rules and procedures for appointed boards. And you have a copy of that. I believe there's a copy in the town website. So it's available to the public. Now, I have a question about this before we move on. Is this something that can be modified by typing? I mean, I thought this was like a PDF or something.
It's a draft, it says.
Yeah, it is a draft.
It's a draft for your approval. So when you talk about modification by typing, you're asking if you can get a Word document that you can make edits to send
Something
back.
with it. I think we need something that has the spaces filled in. There's blanks.
Well,
filled in.
that was my question, because it looks like you just could fill in these blanks, but throughout this document it says it uses the word board, and we're not a board, we're a committee. So I didn't know if that was something that.
Right. This is a draft. The final document would reflect the proper committee.
It will.
It
Okay.
will.
So you have the ability to modify that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So then that brings a point that was confusing to me, because if you go to part 10, committees and appointments, Rule 32 is committees, and the authority to establish committees. Well, to me, we're a committee that was established by the council. So I'm not sure, we're not really a board. How does this
Yeah, that was a question.
apply to us? It seems like we should be under a different set of rules. Most of this we do, because a lot of it is just kind of like Robert's Rules of Order, but it just is very confusing, because we're a committee, we're not a board.
Which section are you referring to again? You
Section 10, Part 10, it's really page 13. We're really a standing committee to help the council carry out its work,
So Part 10, Rule 32 is what you're discussing?
Right, Rule 32.
Yeah. Committee. So that we're a committee, we're not really a board. So is there a different set of rules that should apply for us not like there's anything terribly wrong with this, and like I said, for the most part, we do, we have a quorum, we have open meetings, but we're not really a board, we're a committee.
I think there's opportunity today for this committee to recommend any changes or concerns that you might have with this draft. We could bring back another draft, if you will, at the next meeting with the changes indicated.
Okay,
We can continue to follow Robert's rules for this meeting today if this is not adopted. Kimberly, correct me if I'm wrong. Could there be changes that are made today prior to adoption of this document, or would it need to come back in a month? And depending upon what the changes in, they may require legal review, which would require a month.
It also seems, I think that you and when Lisa was still here had done a review on as a committee, that there were some differences for us. And it's one of the reasons we tried a more open meeting type. I don't know if from any of the things that you looked at before, are we a committee, and is that different?
Well, because this one,
board?
Yeah, this one says the board or the chair can establish standing or temporary to help the board carry out, which I think that part,
Well,
I understand.
but to me, we're the
committee.
committee that was established by the authority of the council.
So that one
And
maybe-
we're subject to the open meetings law
Mhm.
because that's under committees.
So in section A, where it says authority to establish, and it mentions the chair may establish standing or temporary committees, is that something that says that this board?
We're not a board. That's what I'm
sorry,
saying.
The committee.
that it does say committee. Is it something that this committee is able to do, or have you done in the past?
We don't know because we are a committee. We don't have the authority to do much of anything
But we have
except recommend things.
temporary.
we have committees under us,
subcommittee.
Subcommittees,
and
but
that's
they're
where I
not.
think it gets
Tricky.
foggy to me because they have 3 members.
And you have the authority to direct the subcommittees. Is that accurate?
We're just
Yeah,
kind of working.
committee
We're
does.
actually, we call them subcommittees, but they're actually just sort of working groups for certain topic areas.
Yeah, like events.
Those have to have open meetings and
They
televised.
don't. We don't because we don't have a quorum. We don't meet with a quorum. It's just a working group.
Okay, I'm just gonna.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
but that,
Oh, yeah, I
and
read
that's
that.
the reason
No.
that our sizes are limited.
May I suggest that we postpone this to the next meeting so additional research can be done on North Carolina legislation and rules pertaining to committees and subcommittees within the Environmental Resource Committee, because Candace, you're absolutely right, we're not a board. And it's very foggy. We
we
do
can
have
research
the rules of the Environmental Resource Committee that we adhere to that have been distributed, but the board rules don't seem to be pertinent to our
A lot of them are not.
body.
Applicable to us. Yeah.
I mean, we could actually go through this and take out a lot of the things that don't really apply to us. I don't know if that's going to be acceptable or not.
Could a couple of us maybe meet with, our administrator and maybe with Kimberly? This is an area that you can.
Maybe the legal can do research.
I think we did need to do
Legal-
research and then make some
Yeah,
recommendations.
exactly. Because we can chat GPT with the rules for NC committees within the town
And then come back to it.
administration.
We need a motion to table.
I
Well,
move that we.
Or
Let's discuss this a little bit further, though. Okay.
Okay.
How about if we set up a work group to take this on before the next meeting, so that we can have what we believe is something that reflects more like how we operate. We do. I mean, I don't think that the intent is to avoid any of the requirements. It's not.
Right.
It's just to try to make this fit.
that makes sense.
Make it
So if that's acceptable, then we would postpone adoption of this until the next meeting, until we've had a chance to really
Work on it.
revise it.
Just so long that depending upon the changes that are made, it may have to go to legal. So just keep in mind
That's
the
understood.
timing of our next meeting and when the document is returned with your edits may not be the March meeting.
Mhm.
But it just depends how quickly you can do a review and feel comfortable with the changes that you want to recommend.
Well, I think everybody's viewed it, and then we have some real what we feel are substantial
Sure.
issues. You know, there are a lot of other things in here that,
Mhm.
to me, don't really reflect how we've been operating.
Mhm.
For I'll give you an example. This calls for a roll call vote on everything that we do, and you know, we've never operated that way. I mean, we could do it, I guess, but there's no issue that we take on. It's so important that you know, we need to that the record needs to show who actually supported an issue. All of our motions that we pass are unanimous. You know, this is kind of simple stuff. I don't know if that's going to be acceptable or not, but that would be fun to change that.
I think if anybody opposes though a vote that is or an item that is subject to vote, that would be reflected in the minutes.
Well, we
So it
could
would still accurately
That's true.
achieve what
Yeah.
the objective in this rule is.
absolutely. I would think that as a chairperson could, if there was disagreement on an issue, then say, okay, we're going to have a roll call vote. And that's a simple
Or
thing.
just record the ayes and nays.
And the nays.
Well, the record a roll call's going to have to do it by me.
Mhm.
So
Question. Is there any time constraint on this that it needs to be done by a certain period of time? Because I agree. I think this is more of a governance document than an advisory board document. We need to make some changes to it. But again, I'm asking you, is there a time constraint where you need to have this done, signed off?
I don't believe so. We're going to continue to operate as we have been until this document is the changes are made that the board, or I'm sorry, the committee feels are that reflect your procedures. We'll have it reviewed by legal. Once it's stamped off, we'll bring it back. So if it's next month, great. If it's the month after that, that's okay too.
In that case,
As long as we're working toward this as the operating procedure.
Progress.
I would make a motion then that we put together a working group or get some volunteers to sit down and go over it and come up with some changes in a document that we're comfortable with meets or reflects what we need to do and what we're supposed to do. And then take it back to legal and counsel for them to look at. I think we need an opportunity to tailor this more.
Agree.
okay, so there's a motion been made to establish a working group to review the document and to tailor it towards this committee's work. Do I have a second?
I second.
There's no document like this for procedure for committees.
That's what we're trying to find out.
Yeah,
Well,
well, it would be nice to know if there's a whole other document for committees.
We can
Well,
probably research that.
Find that.
And not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so we have a motion that's been made, seconded. Any more discussion on that motion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So anybody opposed? Okay. So we won't be discussing that anymore.
I move that we identify the potential members.
Well, we have to do that right now.
Mhm.
So who's going to be on this group to work on the document?
I know some of our group are not going to be here. I'd be happy to do it because I'll be here the entire month.
I'll work with you.
Thank you.
If we can knock it out before Friday, I can do it because I'm going to be gone for a month too.
We got
But if we
two-
can do it remotely,
Yeah, sure.
I mean, we don't
electronically,
need,
send it
yeah.
back and forth.
Yeah,
Now,
we do. When we've done our working groups, we've been able to do that with phone call, over the phone or FaceTime or something.
so is it possible to get a Word document that we could work with?
Sure.
Okay. You didn't have to retype this whole thing, did you? You did?
You did?
Uh-oh.
I'm
Well,
sure
no.
she saved it.
Well, then you'll be happy to know
Yay,
that
Kimberly.
we're putting it to use. How's that? We greatly appreciate that
Oh
work.
my
Yeah.
gosh.
Thank
If
you,
anybody
Kimberly.
else on the committee has ideas about the
Mhm.
All right, so we have
Great.
Candace
Mhm.
and Diddy and John, you'll do it if you can work on it remotely, because I think you'd probably be good for this. So is that
And we
sufficient?
can, I mean, now, since there's 9 of us, we can have a 4th person if
You could.
somebody else is
I can help.
interested.
All right, there we go.
remotely.
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay, so you have that. Candace, Diddy, Mila, and John.
Mhm.
All right,
We
Great.
just meet
Remote.
quickly after the meeting.
Yeah,
discuss
we'll
how we're gonna do it.
touch base.
all right. Thank you for
I can
volunteering.
do remotely. I just can't. Okay.
You guys get gold stars. Okay, that moves us into elections. So we need to elect a chairperson, a vice chair, and according to the rules, we have to have a secretary, I guess.
Mhm.
Do we have to? Because
do
we've
we-
not had one.
We've not had a secretary since,
Like, I think the last 3 or 4 years.
yeah.
Since Kimberly came.
Took that over.
So is that necessary under these rules?
This election
Hmm.
appointment of a secretary, we really just had
You're
a chair
referring
and
to
a
what's
vice
in
chair.
this document that was just tabled?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Until any-
But we're under the new business.
New business.
Right,
The
no,
election.
Right here.
Yeah,
Oh,
where you're talking
it
about a
says it in here.
secretary.
Elect
Oh, I'm
appointment
sorry.
of secretary.
Right, I know about where it is on the agenda. I'm
Yeah.
asking, that you haven't had one before.
we
No.
did have one before,
You
but
did.
we didn't feel it was necessary because the secretary was only recording the minutes, and then the town provided us with someone to take the minutes.
Mhm.
So we just kind of dropped that position. Instead, we went with a second vice chair.
So where's it spelled out that it is a requirement?
That's what we were wondering. Why?
Yeah.
It's in this document somewhere.
Mhm.
It's in
But it's not
the document that we
applicable-
just tabled?
Right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but it's
Okay,
not
then
applicable to
until
us.
this is finally reviewed and approved, I wouldn't appoint anybody to that position.
Mhm.
So if your recommendation upon review is to strike that, then that would be under consideration at that meeting when this is adopted. If it remains, then I would say in that same meeting, you would want to appoint a secretary. I don't think there's a need to do it today.
Well,
Okay.
I'm
So
looking
put it
in the
in
draft rules, page 5, part 4, organization of the board. Rule 8, organizational meetings, selection of chair and vice chair, and all it says is, as the first order of business, we're supposed to be sworn in.
Mhm.
Take the oath and get sworn in. Second order, we should elect a chair and a vice chair. It doesn't say anything here about having to elect.
Okay. So we can we
Right.
designate whoever's recording the minutes as the secretary?
It doesn't say we have to have one. It does say under the notice of regular meeting schedule that the board shall ensure that a copy of its current meeting schedule, complete with time, place, is filed with the clerk,
All right.
the board's clerk or secretary.
So today,
board
so
clerk.
today
This is
we
our-
will
we have our clerk.
we will not vote on a secretary
Right.
today. So we'll just have an election for. We'll start out with a chairperson, and then that person, once they're sworn in, can take over from.
Oh, well, so at least for now, do we need a motion that we are not going to elect a secretary until we've further reviewed the rules? Or postpone that, or?
Or use the town clerk.
I say we just use the town clerk until
You want to stay in order and start with the chair.
start with the chairperson.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
so we need a motion for nominee for chair. And okay.
I would like to suggest John for the chair.
I think that the person that is nominated should have some idea that this is coming before it happens.
Oh, we are not supposed to do it today?
Yes, no, today.
Nominate.
So, but I saw a look of shock and horror on John's face.
He doesn't have to accept.
I appreciate that, but I really feel that there are people who have been on the board longer and know the ins and outs better than I do. I think until I've had more experience, I don't think I'd be the appropriate person. Plus, looking at my schedule, I'm probably going to miss 3 or 4 of the meetings during the year, which make it difficult.
That is going to make it difficult,
Too bad. I think we need.
especially since our rules say that you can't miss any more than 2 meetings.
There's a motion on the floor. You'll have to call for a second. If there's no second, you
no
can
second.
entertain a second motion.
Right. There's no second for that. Okay, so that motion does not move forward. I need another motion.
Kathy's not going to be here, she's saying, right?
Correct.
You can't do.
Well, if there is nobody that is willing, I would be willing to do it.
Okay.
That's it, Candace.
So let's have a motion to that effect from someone.
I'll motion.
You're all right. Your motion
Nominate
is
Candace.
nominate Candace Sieben as
Mhm.
chair. Is there a second?
Second.
Oh, and a bunch of seconds.
Yay.
Okay, it's been motioned and seconded. Did you have the seconder down? I think Diddy was the first one I heard. All right, so
You have a vote?
all in favor of, I would say raise your hand. Since Diddy made the second, I'm assuming you're in favor. All right. Okay, everybody's in favor of Candace as the new chairperson. So you ready to take over? Or do we need to swear people in we don't have to do that.
Can we do that at the
July.
end? Maybe
There's
do
no
it at the
swearing.
end?
At the end?
Because we've been sworn in as committee.
Right,
members.
so you don't need to be sworn in.
Mhm.
Well, then the next item on the agenda is the election of a vice chair. And do we have interest in that? And John, maybe, would that be
John,
something if
that
you would
something
be
to do?
considering down the road?
I could take the voice, yeah.
Okay.
Be a big learning experience.
All
I'll
right,
second
so,
that.
well, there hasn't
We
been.
have,
has to
we
be a
have to
motion.
make a motion.
Has to be a
You have to
motion.
make a motion.
How's that?
And can we have a vote on the motion to nominate John as vice chair? Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody? That
Congratulations.
carries. And the election appointment of secretary, the next item on the agenda, I think we have discussed, and we need a motion to defer that to our next visit after we
So
reevaluate.
moved.
And our next item is the Green Wave Planning. And luckily, we have Amy here to give us an update.
Did you call a vote on the tabling of we had a
No.
motion and a second. We need a vote.
Oh, did we have a vote?
Yes,
Okay,
we need a
can we vote
please.
on this, moving the election of the secretary to our subsequent meeting?
Aye.
We're voting on it.
We're
Aye.
voting right now.
Anybody against? All in favor? Move on to Green Wave Planning.
Hi, everybody. I've given each of you a copy of the most up-to-date list of our organizations. If you look down the column that's confirmed, you'll see that there is a few groups that have already responded saying that they will be in attendance. So what I need you to do now, I've sent out the emails and I've sent out the application for them to complete. I would need you in your separate bucket areas, so Steve and Steve on the R Waters ones, to follow up with these people in the R Waters if they have not confirmed yet, and just respond to them again and ask them if they would be coming to the event. And then I will get you a copy of the applications that you can forward that along if they didn't see it last time, and just ask them to complete it and send it back to me so that we can get that set. Likewise, we've gotten a few sponsorships. J&J Air is going to be providing recyclable bags, reusable bags. So we'll have about 2,000 bags that we'll be able to distribute. GFL has also confirmed that they'll be attending. They'll be bringing one of their recycling trucks, and they are also donating the toters that we need for the event that we normally have to pay for. So those will be an in-kind donation. And we've also reached out to most of the large builders. Kathy and Steve Levine have taken that on. So each of them has been reached out to in the past week, and Steve and Kathy will be following up with specific builders to see if they would be willing to sponsor a portion of the event so far. I think that's all of my updates. Do you have any questions about anything, where we stand?
I know the budget's been changed substantially. So where are we as a group, and what things are we?
So right now,
What things have been removed, and what do we have left?
So right now, the things that we had last year, one of the things was the plant giveaways, and that's not something that we want to, we've been asked not to use town funds for a plant giveaway. So that's one of the reasons why we reached out to some of the builders, because they do have relationships with landscapers and garden centers, and hoping that they might be able to do an in-kind donation of some plants. If not, we do have Lord's Miracle Acre and the plant swap as well, that we'll be able to have, so that we'll be able to give away some plants. I have another realty company who's interested in sponsoring as well, so I'm going to reach out to them today regarding the Bluebird houses, if that's something that they might be interested in sponsoring. And the other thing is that we had a band last year. We had a jazz band, and this year I think that that number was reduced, and we're going to focus on getting a DJ. So my question is, do you want a DJ, or would you rather me just have some music and have a playlist, and we don't need to spend that money?
You don't know how to play guitar?
Well, you know, it's my ukulele skills are better than my guitar skills. The other thing, we will not be advertising in the Beacon. That's the one thing that was an ad that we had placed in the Beacon for the 2 weeks prior to the Green Wave. So we will not be advertising in the Beacon for it this year, but I still will be going to the schools and dropping off the flyers there, so that it goes to all of the elementary school kids in the area. We'll have that. So.
I felt like last year that advertising the Beacon was really important. I know that there's lots of people that get their information from social media, but there's a lot of people that don't. And I think that was instrumental in bringing people in last year that we had not reached before.
I will reach out to the Beacon specifically to see if they might be interested in writing an article about the event ahead of time, so that people will be able to see the article. So I will speak with the gentleman who comes to all of our government meetings from the Beacon and see if we can get an article written, so that we can get some mention in the Beacon, even if we can't do an advertisement.
That's great. That's a good idea.
If we scrap the DJ, would we save enough money to pay for the ad in the Beacon?
Right.
No, sorry. No, it would be about $300 difference. I would need to, if we decided to do that, I would have to go back to the council, because they I had given them a line by line budget, and there were certain things that they lined out, and the advertisement was one of them. So I would just need to go back and say, hey, we're not going to do this. Can we do that instead?
Or if you had a sponsor.
If we had an advertising sponsor, yes, we could certainly, if we had a sponsor, we could do that.
Do we qualify for PSAs?
Well, really the only place that we have gotten like an in-kind donation to do something like that is with Focus. And because they are giving up that streaming leg of their business, that's something that's going away. So last year, we always would have it for Sunset at Sunset, and last year was the last year of that. So that can be, that is bit of a little bit of a challenge. So the beacon's really where it's at. So we will work with them to try to get some mention in there.
What does it cost for a beacon?
It is about $850, and that gives you 2 runs,
How large are they?
half page.
I thought that was really helpful last year. And, for those of us that were here before we had you helping with those things, we can really see the difference.
Thanks.
Oh, absolutely.
Is there a way, Amy, when people do come in, we can ask how they heard about it, so we know the best ways to contact the public, make it public?
You can do, yes,
do it, right?
whichever you would like, however you would like to do that, we certainly could. I can't commit to sitting in the booth all day to ask people how they heard about it, but it's a good conversation piece that as, wherever people are, to kind of encourage the committee to ask people how they heard about the event. That would be great. So
What's the date of the event?
it's May 9th from 10 to 2, Saturday, May 9th from 10 to 2.
Set up at 9.
People, well, I think
Whenever.
I was there at 7 last year. Some of the vendors like to come early, so we will, we'll be there early for it. Anyway, we have the Loggerhead Liftoff 5K on the beach that morning anyway, so we'll be between the 2 events.
Thank you for all your hard work on it.
No worries.
Will we get the high school volunteers again, Amy?
Well, the high school volunteers were there to help with the plant set, the
Right.
plants. So if we get plants, I will work on getting some volunteers. But if we don't have plants, I don't know that I have enough for them to do.
I was thinking about handing out bags and maybe asking people if they got a bag or got something. How'd you hear about this? And then we could get a feel for next year.
Okay. Yeah, and I think J&J Air is going to come, and they're going to hand out the bags from their booth. Is the plan, because they wanted to be present for the event. So
Makes sense. Okay.
Kathy and I were wondering about putting recycling containers at the event, 3 or 4, so that
we certainly can. They did ask. GFL asked if we could, if they wanted us to provide recycling containers. So we will ask them to bring some. So I have 10 trash cans coming, so I'll have 5 recycling, and we can put them out at the event. Sorry, John, what was your question?
I don't see any of the major landscaping companies on this. Are they prohibited from doing that? Or?
This is more just environmental organizations that are on this list, less businesses. And what we've done in the past, we could certainly reach out to some of those if you know of any that I have the sponsorship letter, so we could certainly reach out to some of those places like Phoenix or something like that to see if they might be interested in sponsoring and bringing, they could do an in-kind donation of plants.
I kind of have a follow-up question too, and I apologize if you've addressed this before I came on. But does anybody know if any of these companies have environmental programs where they offer alternative to the chemicals they normally use, or environmental friendly? Okay, their customers can choose.
I'm not sure of, like a Spring Green, or I know that there's some companies that focus on that. We don't usually bring those kinds of local businesses in. That's not to say we couldn't. It would be up to you. If you wanted to bring in, the people that do the whole water filtration systems or, things like that. Generally, it was artists and organizations. So that would be up to you if you wanted to extend to those people as well.
It just seems like it, we're trying to promote good use of chemicals and stuff like that. And if there are companies out there that are doing that, it might not be a bad idea to try and connect them to.
When we first started, before it was Green Wave and it was just Earth Day, Arbor Day, we sort of committed that our focus would be on education. And so we kind of deliberately did not include commercial activities. There's certainly something we could revisit if we could find a way to fit that in to make this stay educational and not commercial, like they're there selling their services.
Tough to separate.
Although if we could get one of them to be a sponsor, they could come as a sponsor. And that might be an avenue to get them in.
And if anyone's willing to gather some names of places that you'd like me to send it to, I'm happy to reach out with a sponsorship ad.
Maybe some of the nurseries. I know last year we tried the nurseries, and a lot of them said that was their peak time and that kind of thing. But we could at least
Yeah,
approach them.
I mean, it's very busy to
Yep,
get anybody
yep.
from any of the nurseries or any of the farms.
I know.
That
Busy
can
time of the
definitely
year for
be.
them.
Huh.
Yeah.
Busy
It,
time of the year.
it is. It's crazy. And a Saturday in May is like asking
Yeah.
for gold.
And it's Mother's Day weekend, I realized.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. What about Home Depot? We talked about sometimes them
I've got to
doing-
reach out to them. They'll be coming and
Okay.
doing the kids
chil-
activity.
children's activity.
Mhm.
Good,
Yeah.
good.
And then just be, it may be at the end of the meeting because we don't have to do it now, but when I'm looking at all the names you took on, we can go through that and take some of that off for you.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Amy. Then we come on to, and I'm sorry because I didn't prepare this agenda. The next item on the agenda is budget. Steve, do you know what we were planning to cover there?
Now, what was the, we have budget on the agenda?
Mhm.
Is that just to let?
Budget?
Okay,
Yeah,
so
the
it's just
Greenway
in.
budget was what it was.
Okay, we've just covered that.
Yeah.
Sponsorships, was that also Green Wave, the sponsorships? So
Mhm.
we covered
I
that
did
part.
that.
Okay, but then the next part we come to is the subcommittee reports. Lakes, ponds, and stormwater is just one of them.
Oops.
Sorry. Once you said budget, it include me. If we're in the process of the budget, putting the budget together for next year, and I will be making a budget presentation to the committee, and any activities that your committee would do would fall under my budget. So what I need to do is, if there's activities that we know we want to do in the next fiscal year, I need to put together a budget and kind of an explanation of what that activity would be. So if you have thoughts or there's something that as your working groups, you feel that you want to have an activity X, Y, Z, I need to know about it so that I can get it into the budget. Because otherwise, if we don't get it in with that presentation, I won't have any funds for it for next year.
So that'll include, like, as a subcommittee, the lakes and ponds, as well as, like we were talking about, shoreline planting, Candace. And
If you wanted to do a shoreline plantings class, I just need to know if we bring in a speaker, is there a cost associated with that? If we are going to be, what the scope of it is, how it's going to benefit the community, what our plans are for it, time of year we want to do it, location where we want to do it, kind of really flush out exactly what it's going to be.
And
So
when's your deadline for that?
I'm meeting with Ken on the 28th.
Okay.
But I will be able to, I can add something and go back to Ken after that. It's not a deadline of getting it into the budget by February 28th. So if we're still working on it, we need to still get a few more specifics. That's fine. I just need sort of the top lines of something that if you know we want to do something next year, I want to make sure that we are taking that into account before the budget's approved.
Presentation to council's March 5th.
Okay, great.
So that
Amy-
it'd have to be to her before then.
Okay.
I'll put the 20.
What's the best process for us, for the subcommittees to identify their things and then meet with you, or?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that would be the best way to go about
Because
it. If
it-
there's certain things
We need
that
to be
you know
fast here.
we want to do, then we can work on what the costs are associated with it, so we can kind of think about what that's going to be.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, looking ahead at the agenda, we have 126 objective, we're planning.
Mhm.
Right.
We could have some discussion about that today,
Mhm.
and hopefully you can have some idea what you think we might need to budget for.
Okay. So then moving on, subcommittee reports. What's our first subcommittee?
Well, they've got
Like
lakes.
marine.
Stormwater.
We've got lakes, ponds, stormwaters on here, but we've also got the marine.
Marine
What's the name of it?
climate.
Marine and
Climate.
Marine/climate.
And then the green. There's
Green
some
is-
green and clean. Is that what Kathy told me? I can't remember.
Name
Yeah,
what if
and
you
she
put-
had, we went over a lot of objectives, never such names.
I know she was planning to be here and just couldn't make it.
Mhm.
Um, I think I've got some stuff from her. So if I can give this to you to take a look at. This is partly her list of 2026 projects that she thought as a group we could look at, and I think some were more specific to the green group. Her first one on the list was just the green wave, and following up on that, which I think groups are doing. Activities that she suggested, I guess maybe we can do the subcommittee reports and our objectives together, because I think the subcommittees were requested to bring in their objectives. Is that correct? One was to coordinate with the tree board on activities like the tree survey and majestic oaks, continuing to work on green wave. Thursday, doing educational outreach at Market in the Park. Of course, we always have Sunset at Sunset coming up. I think we all recognize that one. And any topic-specific workshops. I know our subcommittee, Lakes and Ponds, had some ideas on that for us. She wanted to focus on caring for the dunes, the marshes, and native plants, green spaces. And I know there's some that we work on. I think some of that marine and climate is working on, and then green. And then a list of majestic oak, whatever we can do to help with majestic oak. Some of this, I think, is also further off. This is the Calabash Bridge to Sunset Beach Park project, but I don't think that's coming up in 26, is it? The walkway,
the bimodal path.
Depends what you mean by coming up. Is it going to be poured? Likely no. There'll probably be some conversations about it in 26, but I don't see anything. There's nothing on my radar that tells me it's going to be in 26.
So we can maybe postpone that till we have better information. She was interested in coastal migratory birds and nesting, and I believe Diana was also. So I think that's something that will probably end up in there. And depending is that falling under marine?
This is kind of a hybrid thing, because the bird survey that I think we need is going to be marine,
yeah,
wading birds, shore birds. Right. But a lot of those wading birds roost lands. I mean, they're wildlife.
Yeah, there are certainly a lot
have
of
a strong tie with marine.
Lakes and
ponds. Yeah.
Seabird count going on right now. That would give us a lot of information. So do the Audubon bird. So tapping into those might be.
Yes. But do you think that it's unnecessary for us to get involved in that?
Not to get involved, but we don't need to. Wheels.
No. Okay. So, who's the eBird? What does that group do?
It's like citizen scientists, and they have. It's quite interesting. My husband is doing it, and you can tell by exactly where on the island. Other people will report, "Oh, we saw the pelicans here," and they count them, and say where they are, and you can review it all.
And they do that every
what are we, February? Yeah.
migratory.
Okay. Migratory.
Okay.
North Carolina Wildlife Association does that every year because we're an official migratory route of the birds, so they have reports every year.
Yeah. Audubon
Christmas.
Okay. It sounds like there may be interest in the coastal and shoreline birds and probably wildlife as an area of interest for 2026.
Or green and clean.
I'm not. I don't know. I think this sounds to me like a general ERC thing, and then maybe each subcommittee can figure out how they might work towards it. Does that make sense?
Because some is marine.
So that's kind of a general one. And further than that, I don't know what the green and clean's goals are for.
We talked a lot about recycling, seeing if we could figure out who does and who doesn't and why and what we can do to help. 2027 is the new deadline for the Brunswick County trash agreement. So we were trying to get a little bit ahead of that and see what other options we might have for size of containers, and work with Ocean Isle, find out what are they doing over there, because it's in their taxes, so everybody has the opportunity to recycle. How's that working? Is that something we can imitate, or can we join with them to have a little bit more weight with GFC for the contract and get better terms for recycling? Just try to find out why we're not getting more results.
So recycling would be another one of the ERCs. It's always been on our
Yeah.
horizon, so that's a good one to continue. Anything else from your group that you can think of?
No, we basically, because I'm more interested in recycling, we spoke about that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you want to talk about lakes and ponds?
Sure. Well, I just had a couple of questions. I had done some objectives for lakes and ponds, and one of those now I had a question about, with Dustin gone, who will be reporting that to us and how often? And is Stillwater a part of that budget, Amy, that we would recommend to you, or no? Okay,
That would be town budget.
town budget. Okay.
Maybe.
No?
Yeah, I have the Stillwater contract for the fiscal year, which will be included in this budget.
Okay.
Matt Sorrells and Vicky Todd will be the ones that would, I guess, follow up on any reporting that's required that comes from the ponds.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you identified when they will begin treating and what will be the regularity? Will it be the same as they've been doing?
I had a brief conversation with them, and my understanding is that they're going to follow the same course that they did last year.
Okay.
They start treating in March.
On the weather.
Whatever they did last year. So
Think
if
it
it was
was
March,
March.
then
Yeah, I
yes.
think they
Yeah, I
started
feel like
in-
it's going to happen soon. Yeah, because I know there was a dormant period,
It's cold. Yeah.
and we're currently under contract with them through June 30th.
Of 2026 or 27.
That's it.
26.
I suppose the further contract would be under the next year's budget.
That's correct.
And objectives.
We had originally planned to do a shoreline planting at the viewing deck, the alligator viewing deck, and that got kind of postponed. So I'm not sure about planning for the dates of that. That's what I was going to say. Are we still going to look at
I
that?
think do we have any budget for it?
There was, there were some plants we were going to be donated, and some plants we were going to have to purchase, Amy. So I don't know. It would probably be later in the year, but because of when we can get the plants, we ran into that last year. And setting it up, it'd have to be probably fall, I think, now instead of into spring.
Well, then I think we should look at that as part of what we propose from the Lakes and Ponds Subcommittee to Amy, because she's going to have to seek
Right.
budget.
Right. So that's the only other thing I didn't know about dollars.
And Mila, did you have some more things under?
No, I had just those questions. If Stillwater is still our provider, when they will start treating, with what regularity, and who's the contact, and she answered all my questions.
I had one more thing. We have aerators, I guess they're called, and those will still be a part of that. I don't know that we'll add any or anything, but there are aerators in the lakes and the ponds, particularly the ponds too, that's all a part of that contract. So that's going to remain the same as well as the treatments, correct?
Correct.
That's part of it?
That's
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
Are there things from Lakes and Ponds that need to be part of the generic ERC goals? Then we've got the wildlife and birds, we've got the recycling, I guess water, what would you call
Water
it? The
quality.
water quality or condition, the stormwater management?
Steve's not here, Levine, but I know he did ask at the last meeting, then I had a conversation with him afterwards about the waterway and this.
The waterways, I mean, that's an issue.
Right.
The water quality in the waterway has been visibly worse.
Yeah. I don't think water quality is the
fine.
right,
I
is the
know.
right thing, but,
The walls, he's concerned about the walls, you know, and
well, and the
Well,
whole,
living
the whole,
shorelines, and
That's it.
that's
living
that's
shoreline. That's a better way to
something.
say it.
If we're looking at, moving into the next year,
mhm.
is it possible? May not be possible to come up with the funding to finish what we've been doing with the living shoreline and
Okay.
the park that
Mhm.
is protecting the park shoreline somewhat from the boats trafficking, because we know the people, even though they're required to slow down there, it's a no wake zone. They don't often do that until they're well along. So I think that the original intent was to continue that living shoreline right even down to the boat ramp. Not sure, but I wasn't involved with the original part of it.
Mhm.
Is that what it was, Pete? It was supposed to go right down to the boat landing?
To the landings.
So,
So that could go on our 2026 focus as something that, or at least,
well, that's on my list.
Okay.
Okay. I
Now,
just had it on mine.
I don't know that there's money available to do that, so we'd have to
Right.
raise it somehow.
Mhm.
But I also like to take a look at evaluating. There are a lot of oysters that have grown on that structure.
Mm-hmm.
Are they all alive? Is this is a thriving oyster reef? Then that's something I'd like to see replicated in other areas of the town. Try to, because oysters filter an awful lot of that water, and they can pull some of the suspended materials out of it, maybe clear it up a little bit.
Well, I knew we were lakes and ponds, but I know Steve was very concerned about that, and he's not here. And I think that's the water issue. I don't know how if we say it's living shoreline, the objective maybe, and then talk about how it gets done.
I just remembered something on lakes and ponds. So in the end of the year, we had a really good presentation from Stillwater. And from what I understand, that there are 3 levels, or maybe even more, of treating lakes and ponds. One is surface algae, the other one is noxious weeds, and the third one, which is really problematic and actually kind of connects to the idea of the quality of water, is the sediment. And what they proposed was a very small 1-acre study of the sediment, and on different applications they can use to break down the sediment, because it contributes to the shallowness of the water. So I would like to put it on one of our projects for 2026, if possible. It is not very expensive, but I think it would be very important to find out.
So it sounds like that would fall under
Survey.
lakes and ponds, and
Yeah.
something that we can work with Amy to look for funding for that.
For a survey,
wherever
because
it
it'll
should
show
go.
the effectiveness too, Amy, of what, not just the treatment, but from another standpoint, if we ever have to reach out for grant funding or alternate funding, it's a great thing to have that research, because a lot of them ask, what are you doing to treat the lakes, and what else could you do? And we're kind of at a standstill there until we get some data and documentation.
I'm going over these just so make sure we're all in agreement, and adding in what we think is appropriate. This is not subcommittee goals. This is kind of what we're saying ERC can be looking at: coastal and shoreline birds and wildlife, recycling, living shoreline, maintaining our lakes and ponds. Living shoreline. I'm wondering, because you've been doing so much work on Jinks Creek and Tubbs Inlet, and I hate for us to lose that.
Well, I don't.
Is that on
my
your
intent
list?
is that we don't lose that.
How do we put that on the list?
I don't know, because I go off this committee. I think John and I will be still doing it.
That's why, I'd like to make sure we have this somewhere on our list of things the ERC will stay focused on. I don't want to lose sight. So what should I call that? Just Jinks
don't
Creek
know.
and Tubbs Inlet?
I don't know what you would call it. Voluntary monitoring of just about it.
Waterway monitoring?
Yeah, I guess you call it waterway monitoring. But
That way we don't trigger any big apprehensions.
we're going to continue to do it as long as I'm on the committee, but as long when I go off, my intention is to stay involved with that.
Yeah.
We just need to know what we're going to call that.
Well, if somebody else on the committee wants to get
Well, and
involved.
let's hope,
waterway.
that's why I'm hoping if we have these as one of our goals, that we'll have a way to
I think
continue.
you should probably keep it on there.
Yeah, okay, I'm just calling it waterway monitoring. We all know what that's going to mean, that area at the end of the island. What's happening to the
Well,
marshes.
I would
Should I not call it
The
waterway?
inlet might be a better
Inlet,
term.
inlet.
just call it the
Inlet,
Inlet?
that's good. Inlet, good
launching
idea.
of the
Good idea.
Okay. Anything else that should go on here that as we're going through this? And we can certainly add to it, but at least it's giving us some ideas.
You've got stormwater, right? Because that's a big,
Mhm.
I mean,
And along those lines, I
lakes
think
and ponds do help with the stormwater.
John Farrell's been good in providing rainfall
Thank
data
you.
so that,
Yeah.
Climate too, I think, yeah.
Thankfully, we have a Coco Ross volunteer here.
Right, that's right. And speaking of that, January was 40% lower, John?
I mean,
40% lower than our average rainfall. So we got, have we gone from moderate to severe drought yet? I don't think so. Yeah.
Do you count snowfall?
Okay. John, John, could you come to the microphone for us just briefly to answer those questions? Thank you.
Okay. January was 41% of average. We wound up, let me get my computer. We wound up year 25 being almost 15 inches below average rainfall for the year, which puts us into a moderate drought category. And we started out the new year in the same manner. What was your question, Diddy?
Oh, you count snowfall.
Yes. There's a wide difference in the way people calculate snowfall. People go out and stick a ruler in their yard and say, well, we had 15 inches. The way the Weather Service does it, they go around the yard and take multiple readings and take the average. In my yard, I had anywhere from 18 inches to nothing. So where I collect the rainfall, I took snowfall measurements there and they averaged out to 9 inches. And the National Weather Service for this area of the state said that we had 8.5 inches of snowfall. That boiled down to about a half an inch of water. One thing else that I'd like to share with people is that today is the first day that we'll have a sunset at 6 o'clock. Before today, sunset has been before 6 o'clock. So the sun will continue to set later in the day through the month of October. And in November, with the time change, we go back to sunsets before 6 o'clock. So we've had 3.5 months of sunsets early in the day, and now we're going back to later in the day. It's one of the nice things about living here. Are there any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
We hope you'll keep coming to keep us up to date.
I'm here to help. You just have to ask me.
Yeah.
So you're reminding me that we need something on our 2026 goals for climate and resilience.
Resiliency.
I know the committees are working on it in different ways, but does that make sense?
I mean, I got
Okay. Anything else to add to the list? I'm going to read it off one time so I know that Kimberly has. So it was the coastal and shoreline birds and wildlife, recycling, living shoreline, inlet monitoring, maintaining lakes and ponds, stormwater management, and climate and resilience. Going once, going twice.
Do we need to add the tree committee objective to that, the tree count?
That will fall under tree board when we meet later today. We'll go there. But one of the questions that Kathy had was, how do we work with tree board? And I don't know that we know. I think our subcommittees have to think about what we might do with them.
So you have an objective for developing like a tree canopy survey, or so you're going to have, what's the idea behind that? Hire a contractor to do that?
Apparently the state does that, and they have people that will do it, and I thought that was part of the grant. I missed the last meeting,
Oh,
so I don't know what the resolution was on that.
I think Becky has information at tree board today.
But I seem to
tree
remember
board's
that
at
the state
1:30?
would do some of it, and we also had some grant money out of Tree City that would be available. We could do that, but again, I'm sorry, I don't have the details.
that's okay.
Yeah.
And probably take this opportunity to announce Arbor Day, right? Because that'll happen before our next ERC meeting,
That's in March, I think.
March 10th at 20th,
That's after the,
Oh,
Friday, March 20th
at 11 a.m.
at 11 a.m.
Okay.
yeah, I don't know what they discussed at the last meeting.
Planting the
Okay.
tree.
So tune in at 1:30 and catch up on tree board.
March 20th, 11. Fire station 1
I think we should try to get to that.
a.m.
Yeah, I hope we'll all be there.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on our objectives or subcommittee activities that we want to include today? Public comments.
Morning, I'm Stuart Jones. I'm with the Town of Sunset Beach Planning Board. And I'm here today to kind of encourage you guys to get involved in the land use plan that we're working on as a planning board. Right now, we've got the survey out, which is available online on the town's website. And we're also, the process is kind of ongoing right now. The consultant is going kind of chapter by chapter through the document. And so I would encourage y'all to kind of participate in the planning board meetings. There's going to be several sections that relate to environmental practices, and I would love for y'all to engage in that process. Sometimes it feels like the planning board kind of operates in a vacuum and we don't hear much from the ERC or vice versa. So I'm kind of here as an envoy to kind of hopefully we can engage in part of that together. I did want to just quickly go through the schedule because this is going to move pretty quick. So right now we're going through chapters 1 through 3. Chapter 3 will be natural systems, which the consultant's going to talk about tomorrow. And we're going to have comments back on chapters 1 and 2 tomorrow. But coming up in March, it looks like it's going to be in March, will be our first public engagement process. And so I'm hoping that we'll have a nice big turnout. What we're hoping is that people will come and share their hopes and dreams. And so from you guys personally and as a committee to talk about, I'm hearing some of your 2026 goals and objectives, but we're thinking long range. So we're trying to think about, what, 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, what do you guys see as an ERC? What are some goals and objectives that need to come out of this document? Because what we're trying to do is make this, in the past, it's been kind of a by rote what CAMA requires us to do is a land use plan. We're trying to push that envelope into making it be more of a comprehensive plan with a lot more goals and objectives moving forward. So that we haven't set a date for the first public engagement, but you can kind of, if you stay engaged in the process, you'll hear it coming up. March, maybe April, for that first public engagement. Then we'll be back in June doing more chapter 4 in May, chapter 5 in June, and then final draft is going to happen in July. So and probably another public engagement process over the summer. And then this thing is going to wind up going, in theory, to the planning board for approval in August and then on to town council. So again, this is going to move pretty quick. So I just hope y'all will stay engaged in the process. There are two things I wanted to mention. The contract for the land use plan got a little squirrely. And so we've got a basic contract with the contractor for a land use plan. And again, the planning board is trying to push the envelope a little bit. So we have two items that we're trying to come up with as additional services. One would be, these would be two focus areas. One would be Sunset Boulevard. And part of that would be looking at typical building placements, parking, sidewalk, street trees, landscaping, and building signage along Sunset Boulevard. So we've got a lot of Sunset Boulevard that's not developed. A lot of it is developed and a lot of it's really done well, but there's gaps of sidewalks, there's viewpoints that I'm going to kind of push for along Sunset Boulevard that we need to try and preserve. And then can we come up with tree plantings that are consistent and attractive along Sunset Boulevard? The second focus area would be the island. A lot of people think the island's done, but the island is not done. Of course, we have a new park. We don't have any sidewalks to the park. So that's going to be a big thing. This focus would be talking about sidewalk locations all around the island, street trees, landscape improvements that we can do all over the island, new potential parks, viewing areas, and public art locations. So again, these are, if we can get these additional items approved by council, that would probably bring on another public engagement process where, again, we could talk about more specific things on the island and Sunset Boulevard that may relate to environmental resources, especially things on the island. And we could talk about educational opportunities and things like that. So again, this is kind of a chance for us to dream about what could happen and what Sunset Beach could turn out to be. So thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
I have a question about the survey.
Uh-huh.
I was in a group and I said, oh, I just filled mine out. And they said, oh, it's over. It was over January 1st. Is the survey still available online?
Yes. Yes. We haven't closed out the survey yet. And last month we were up to 848 responses. So we're trying to get that number up. So anybody you talk to, even if they're owners and they're renters or whoever, because part of that survey is you're telling us if you're
Right.
you live here, you're a renter, you know, whatever.
Thank you.
Yes.
In addition to the survey and public forums, what are other methods or mechanics of engaging with your board?
Of course, you can always message us as a planning board.
Mhm.
There is a way, I believe the consultant's got a way to contact him. We do have a website just for the land use plan, so you can make comments on there as well.
And is it within the Town of Sunset Beach website or is it separate?
It's separate.
What's the
I think
name of it?
there's a link for it in there, Kimberly. Yeah, there's
There's
a link
from
to
the
it.
town's website.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Anything
Thank
else?
you.
Any further comments? If not, we have a motion to adjourn.
I move to we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned, and we'll meet again next month. Please